Welcome back, 725 South Floyd Street. It is the post-Breeders' Cup show. You know, if you're from this part of the country, then you obviously love horses and horse racing. And you know the relationship between humans and horses, but no one knows better than the gentleman to my left, our guest, is Mr. Kerry Thomas, who is an investigative reporter and an author. And, you know, it's so fascinating. I wish I could dedicate an entire show to you, Kerry, but welcome to Louisville.
Thank you.
I know this is a special week for you because you work so closely with horses. To let our audience know exactly what you do, to us, when we look at a horse, especially if we're going to the racetrack, it's all about structure and the size of the horse and distances he can run, but you're more about the mental aspect, correct?
Exactly. I profile and research the emotional conformation of the horse. You know, essentially, we all know what we're looking at. You know the blood type, the pedigree, the race records of these horses. My job is to help dissect the ingredients of who that horse is between your ears, because it is the who that runs the machine.
So, when you go to a yearling sale, obviously you've probably been used as a resource for these buyers, and they say, look at this horse. What do you look for in a horse to determine whether or not he can be a quality racehorse?
One of the key things you want to look for is, can that horse manage stimulus in an environment and still maintain a straight line if they're walking, stay within themselves. Essentially, you don't want to see a lot of body language.
Gotcha.
The horse needs to be able to manage multiple stimulus at one time, even at a young age, because one of the things I found out in my research is that the patterns of behavior directly translate to patterns of motion. So these basic parts of the horse, how they're handling stimulus, are already there.
Now, if you've spent much time around a stable, and I'm talking to our audience here, then you know there's a special relationship between humans and horses, obviously.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about that and how the mental aspect of horses also sometimes applies to humans, and especially in the business environment.
Yes, actually, it's funny you bring that up, because we just recently did a thing here in Louisville with Humana, where I came in and gave a presentation on the THT and the corporate herd. And essentially, it is how the herd dynamics of communication translate to the corporate structure. Because what I found in my research, and I spent 15 years researching wild horse behavior and horse behavior all over the place, was that the communication is the governing factor, and how well those horses communicate and how they communicate is a governing factor over the herd dynamic.
So, Kerry, and I know this is kind of simplifying things, so do you look for the same kind of qualities in a leader in the business environment, or the same kind of communication, the way they communicate, as you do in a herd of horses?
Well, I'll just put it to you this way.
Okay.
Mother Nature is very slick. She conceals her leadership. Your true leaders in a herd of horses
are not the biggest.
Or are not it has nothing to do with body size. And also, you won't even know they're there. They lead by presence and intention. They don't need body language or to take over your space to let you know they're in charge.
Interesting.
I'll just leave it at that.
Interesting. So, if someone who's watching who is maybe a CEO of a company, what kind of seminar or what kind of help can you give them? What kind of resource are you? If they come to you and say, help me out, what kind of things do you look for in a company to make it more successful?
Well, I try to be another tool in the toolbox. And what I like to do is come in and give a seminar based on the herd dynamics of communication and how we can use what we find there on how, you know, the biggest thing is information. If you think of it like a pinball, well, you want that information to get to the goal without too many chinks in it. How that information is delivered affects how that information is received.
Interesting.
And with the horse societies in the wild, it's a very much a straight line. It's very direct. It's very subtle, but very direct. In a corporate structure, a lot of times there's a corporate disconnect. And by the time it goes from here to get to you, it's got this and this and this and this, and it's got everyone else's imprints on it. And sometimes that's not always a good thing.
Good. I understand. So there is a science to it. It's not a guessing game.
No.
Kerry, this is interesting stuff. I wish we had an entire half hour to talk to you.
Thank you.
But you're going to come back around Derby, and you'll come back on the show, and we'll talk a little bit more.
Yeah,
in the meantime,
I'll come back for the book when the book's out.
If you would, tell them the name of your book, the title of your book.
Horse Profiling is going to be out right about May, end of April, May, as of right now. And hopefully we're going to be in town here doing a book signing for the Derby.
All right. If you're a lover of horses, or if you just happen to be a CEO and you want to better, I guess, negotiate your people, make sure you're working in a
want to get more tools in your toolbox.
There you go. Thank you very much, Kerry Thomas. Once again, he is an investigative researcher with a new book out, Horse Profiling. Check it out. We'll be right back. 725 South Floyd Street.
Thank you.